All right, so we're going to do the exploding head project. The first thing you need to do is drag the picture of yourself into Photoshop. I'm going to use this picture of my son, and what we're going to do is the first thing we need to do is zoom in, and we're going to use our quick select tool. Make sure you're on the plus here, and we're going to select him. You guys are going to select yourself. And the first thing I'm going to do is copy and then paste. So I have this layer of him here. I need to make sure I have that extra space up here, and we're going to make this work over here by adding images to that. So I'm going to zoom in here on his head, and I'm going to go to my Polygonal Lasso tool, and what I want to do is I want to start to cut him out. So I'm going to make my zigzag pattern so it looks like a broken egg here, and cut his head off by hitting Command X, and then I'm going to paste it and hit Command V. And I'm going to name this head. Now that you have your head, we're going to move it almost right where it was, but we're going to hit Command T. And I'm going to take this little dot. You guys see this dot? That's the target. I'm going to move it to the corner. So when I go like this, it's going to open up. And I actually want my head to almost overlap, so it really does look like we just kind of cut the head off. I want to apply my transformation. I want to zoom out so you can see. So now I have my head open. Here we go. We can open it up a little bit more too if you really want to. There we go. So his head is nice and open. The next thing that I want to do is we can merge this back if you really want to, but you don't have to. I want to start getting my objects. And what I did was I found all kinds of things that he really likes and finds interesting. You guys will notice I do have some of my fruit still in there. But I'm actually going to take a few things. These cars, PJ Masks, and I'm going to actually drag them all into Photoshop, and then we'll work with them from there. And just like we did with our other project, our Melon Chef, I'm going to start taking the objects. Oh, I don't want that. I guess we're going to take Rubble first. So I'm going to select Rubble, and Rubble's going to be easy to select because he's a PNG, so I'm going to copy him. And then I'm going to go to the image of Nathan, and I'm going to hit paste. And that's actually a pretty small picture. Let's make it a little bigger. Hopefully it'll work. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. I am going to flip him over, though. I'm going to go to flip. I'm going to flip him horizontal. And I wanted to make it look like, we're going to zoom in towards his head here, like he's jumping out of his head. And the way to do that is, one, we're going to turn him a little bit more. Two, we're going to make him a little bit smaller so he fits. And we're going to take him and move him underneath Nathan's head. So remember, the layer order matters. So I'm also going to take this and name this Rubble. So I know I'm going to name this Nate, and that's head. Okay? So here's Nathan, and I can actually lock him, put that little lock, so now he won't move. See? Can't move. I can do the same thing with his head, and that's probably a good idea for you guys. I can layer Rubble a little differently. There we go. So he looks like he's jumping out of his head. The next one I'm going to use these crayons. And I thought these might be kind of cool to flow out of his head. I don't know. What's in the mind of a 3-year-old? Probably some crayons. So I'm actually not going to take this side. And the reason why is that little logo's right there. So I'm going to take this other side. And I want to try to get the actual crayon. Make sure I'm on the plus here. Ooh. Will that help me out? let's try another approach. And the other approach I'm going to try is that, which is great. So then all I have to do is go to select inverse. Now I can come over here and go to my quick select tool and go to the minus sign. I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger, and I can get rid of all these. And it doesn't have to necessarily be perfect. I'm still missing half of my crayons here for some reason. I'm gonna try this. Come on, crayons. Be a little cooperative. I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna go back to the picture of Nate, and I'm gonna hit paste. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play with this. Okay. I definitely want this behind Nathan. I'm gonna need this. Crayons. And I can actually do a few things. So one thing that I can do is I can come in here with my eraser, my nice big eraser, and it's nice and soft. And I can play with this a little bit. I can also come in here and go to edit, transform, and do that warp. So it almost looks like we're moving it and playing around. And that's fine. And then we can even come in here with my zoom tool and then come in here with my magic wand and start deleting some of this inner portion here. Okay. Do you have to do this? No. Can you? Yes. You can come in here also with your eraser tool, whatever you want. I'm going to go to fit screen. The next thing that I'm going to use is I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to come in here. Let's use Rocky. I'm going to actually take Rocky. I'm going to hold down my Command key and click Command C. We're going to go back to his picture. And I want to make it look like Rocky and Rubble are kind of playing here. And remember, you can duplicate things. You can make things bigger. You can make them smaller. You can turn them. You can bend them. I can go, we're going to name this Rocky. And then I can actually take Rubble again, copy him, and almost have it like Rubble and Rocky are just overlapping. And then remember, you can even play with the opacity. If you want something to look like it's further away, so if I take these crayons, I can lower my opacity. Oops, that must be Rubble. Where are my crayons? Crayons are right here. Really? Oh, I gotta apply the transformation, that's why. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to get rid of this Rubble. I have another car here. I was going to add the car. I don't think I'm going to do that just because I want you guys to just be able to see and play with this. The last step to this project is to add smoke. I am going to come down here though, and right between his legs there was this part of the wall. And you guys shouldn't have to do this because you're really just doing your headshots. But because I'm using this picture of my son, oops, oh, my lock is on, so it's not going to disappear. There we go. He's got some wall back here. There's a very, very important thing that you need to decide. You need to decide what kind of smoke you want behind your picture. If you want white smoke, you need to have a black background. I'll show you something that I have here. This is white smoke, so you can see it. That's the white smoke. So I need a black background, and I had color smoke here, and I would have a white background. So I will show you the black smoke, because the black smoke's a little different. I'm going to take my smoke and I'm going to drag it over. I also want to add another layer here. I'm going to add this layer and I'm going to add it all the way down the bottom. And I'm going to hit Command Delete. Oops, I'm going to reverse my colors here and hit Command Delete. So he's on a white background. Or a black background, sorry. I'm going to go back to my smoke. And I'm going to turn this. Because the smoke is actually going to look like it's coming out of Nathan's head. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my black background. And I'm actually going to take this picture of the smoke. And I'm going to come in here. And I'm going to turn Contagious off, but I'm going to click on the black background. I want to get rid of that black background because it technically might not match the black background I just inserted. We're going to name this Smoke. And it's the same thing with your smoke as it is with your pictures. You want them to kind of blend in. So I want to change my opacity. And you can actually play with your layers because it's really important that you do. I can actually layer my smoke a couple different times. So we can turn it and it looks like there's like different overlapping layers. The other thing that I like to tell kids is to play with your eraser tool so it doesn't overlap too much. There's this other tool that we can play with, and I'm actually going to go in with my crayons. I'm going to go to Filter, and it's under, where is it? Filter, distort, swirl, share. No, it's not there. Not exactly sure where it is. It's under up there it is, Liquify. And to liquefy something just means that we can actually sit here and we can pull it. And I like to do this especially with the colored smoke. And almost make it look like it's going back into somebody's head. I'm going to actually do it with Rocky, I think, here. And it can kind of look like it's a dream. Filter, liquefy. So it looks like he's coming out of Nathan's head. Not just out of Nathan's head, but almost out of his dreams. It works really well with some other things. I also like to tell kids to do that with your smoke, especially the colored smoke. Go to select, or I'm sorry, filter, liquefy, and just kind of pull it so it really doesn't look like it should be fake. You can also use, if you come over here, go to your blur tool or your smudge tool. You can go in here with your smudge tool and it'll do the same thing. This is your cutting what's in my head project. You can fill this with as many things as you like, but I do want to see that you've added your smoke. I do want to see that you've added duplicates of an object, and I want to see that you played kind of around with that liquefy and edit, transform. Remember, you can warp, you can change the perspective. I usually like warp the best. You're going to save it as what's in my head, and then again you're going to save it as a Photoshop document. I'm going to hit what's in my head is in my head and save it once. Go through and go to File, Save As, and then save it as, whoops, it's still being saved. You're going to save it as that JPEG as soon as you're done, and the JPEG goes in your Dropbox. Alright guys, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have trouble with the multicolored smoke, not a problem, I can help you with that. Have a great day.